news for a comment she made on her podcast. Sophie Cunningham's week that keeps on giving has hit a new high. She started out the week on Good Morning America, and now she is closing out the week starring in an Adidas commercial highlighting the new shoes that are about to be released. Sophie Cunningham has taken the ball and ran with it. For that, Sophie Cunningham, kudos to you. Making lemonade out of the lemons that you've been given. Capitalizing on your newfound fame, your newfound stardom. Being a part of the Indiana Fever. Defending Caitlin Clark.
Sophie Cunningham just turned a sneaker ad into the most explosive moment of the WNBA offseason, and nobody saw it coming. What was supposed to be a simple shoe reveal has ignited a firestorm that has the Indiana Fever front office scrambling. Fans divided across social media, an entire league asking one question. Did Sophie just announce her exit without saying a word? This week started innocently enough. Sophie appeared on Good Morning America, smiling, polished, and seemingly just another rising star getting her moment in the sun. But by Friday, everything changed. Adidas dropped their latest commercial featuring new colorways from their Damian Lillard collaboration. And Sophie Cunningham wasn't just in it. She owned it, dressed head to toe in electric pink, commanding the screen with a confidence that felt less like promotion and more like declaration. Her now iconic line,
So, lads, today we're going to be talking a little bit about Sophie Cunningham. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham's podcast has got a lot of people saying, giving their opinions on this, and people don't realize how good Sophie Cunningham is at basketball, and how important having Sophie Cunningham is for the Fever winning a championship. Look, there is a caveat, and the caveat is Is Caitlin Clark on the team? If the answer is yes, then I'm not joking when I say
I'm busy wasn't just a throwaway ad script. It was a statement. And within hours, the entire WNBA universe was dissecting every frame, every smirk, every possible hidden message buried in those 30 seconds of footage. Fans flooded TikTok and X with clips, freeze frames, and theories. Some saw empowerment, others saw shade, but everyone agreed on one thing. This wasn't your typical endorsement deal. The closing slogan, "Be unapologetic," hit different when you knew what Sophie had said just days before on her podcast. She mentioned wanting a bigger contract, enough to finally buy a house and feel cozy. Harmless, right? Except she casually dropped New York and Minneapolis as cities where she could see herself living. Not Indianapolis. Not Indiana. And just like that, Fever Nation went into full...
Asking the question, is Sophie Cunningham coming back? Are the Fever front office going to blow this? Are the Fever front office going to offer her a max contract? Before we get into it, would you guys offer Sophie Cunningham a max contract? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe. Let's get right into the commercial that has people talking about Sophie Cunningham as of late.
All new X colorways from Adidas and Damian Lillard.
Say night-night to your opponent in night purple. Be in your element with black sulfur. Or cause a shock with electric pink.
Where's electric pink?
Panic mode. Let's rewind and understand how we got here, because Sophie Cunningham's rise to this moment didn't happen overnight. Before the Adidas spotlight, before the Arby's deal and the ring sponsorship, Sophie was grinding in Phoenix as a Mercury role player with a nickname that was meant to insult her. Mega Barbie. Critics used it to mock her. She turned it into a brand. That's who Sophie is. She doesn't run from controversy. She monetizes it. Her TikTok blew up after fiery on-court clashes and unapologetic interviews. Her Instagram became a hub for fans who loved her chaotic energy and bold takes. She wasn't waiting for the WNBA to market her. She was building her own empire, piece by piece, post by post, partnership by partnership. When she joined the Indiana Fever, the narrative was clear. She was there to support Caitlin Clark, to be the enforcer, the veteran presence, the tough defender who'd take the heat so Clark could shine. And she played that role perfectly.
Is Caitlin Clark on the team? If the answer is yes, then I'm not joking when I say this. Sophie Cunningham is a way better fit than Lexi Hull. Way better. Like, I don't mind. I'd keep both. And you can afford to keep both. But Sophie is a way better fit than Lexi Hull. If Caitlin Clark is on the team. If you are running it back with a Kelsey Mitchell-led team, where it's a lot of, for lack of a better word,
But somewhere along the way, something shifted. Sophie started getting her own headlines. Her moments defending Caitlin went viral, not because of Caitlin, but because of Sophie's fire. The way she stood up to opponents, the way she talked to the media, the way she carried herself with zero apologies. Fans started paying attention. Brands started paying attention. And Adidas saw something the rest of the league was too slow to recognize. Star power. The decision to make Sophie the centerpiece of their latest campaign wasn't random. It was calculated. Adidas didn't feature her alongside other WNBA stars or NBA athletes. They gave her the entire commercial. Just Sophie. Just electric pink. Just that smirk and that attitude. They leaned into her polarizing image, the one that makes fans either love her fiercely or criticize her loudly, and turned it into her greatest weapon.
Adidas.com. Availability, sizing, color, website address, and prices may vary by region. Please check with local retailer. And remember, always name time responsibly.
This is pretty much a Sophie Cunningham commercial, let's be honest here. This isn't her alongside another WNBA player. This isn't her alongside another NBA player. This is a Sophie Cunningham commercial selling these new Dame shoes. Adidas sees the money that Sophie Cunningham is, see the star that she is becoming, that she continues to become, and said, yep, we're going to capitalize on that. She's already been underneath the brand. She's already been affiliated with Adidas. And they said...
Electric pink wasn't just a color. It became a personality trait. It became Sophie Cunningham in shoe form. Unpredictable. Bold. Impossible to ignore. And the rollout? Absolute genius. Adidas waited until Sophie's Good Morning America appearance had already pushed her into national headlines. They let the hype build, let the momentum peak, and then dropped the commercial like a bomb. Within hours, electric pink was trending. Sophie's name was being searched more than any other WNBA player that week. This was the kind of brand synergy the league dreams about but rarely achieves. A player becoming a cultural conversation, not just a sports story. Adidas didn't just sell shoes. They sold Sophie Cunningham as a lifestyle. But here's where it gets messy. The timing of this commercial is suspicious at best, explosive at worst. It dropped just days after Sophie's podcast comments.
She is a better slasher than Lexi. She is a better three-point shooter than Lexi. She's a better passer than Lexi. Her offensive IQ is higher than Lexi. Her ability to be a defensive stopper is higher than Lexi. But Lexi Hull is the best in the league at what she does. Like, this is not me saying you choose one or the other. But which one fits significantly better beside Caitlin Clark? Like, archetype role, what you need beside a Caitlin Clark? Sophie. When Lexi touches the ball's gone up. And this isn't like a knock on Lexi. I want to keep both of them. But like Sophie...
About wanting a bigger contract and mentioning cities outside Indiana. Coincidence? Maybe. Strategic move? Probably. Because whether Sophie intended it or not, that Adidas ad felt like an exclamation point to her contract conversation. Was she signaling her independence from the fever? Was she reminding the front office that she has options, leverage, and a market value that's skyrocketing by the day? Or was Adidas simply capitalizing on controversy to generate clicks and sales? Either way, the reaction was massive. Fans immediately started demanding Sophie Cunningham merchandise. Not just a player-exclusive shoe, but her own signature line. The nicknames started flying. Electric Pink, Extra Spicy, and the internet ate it up. Sports media outlets dissected every second of the commercial. Some praised Sophie for owning her narrative, calling it marketing brilliance and proof that modern athletes don't need league approval to build their brand. Others accused her of arrogance, claiming fame had clouded her loyalty to the team. The fan base split down the middle, but one undeniable truth emerged. Sophie Cunningham had officially crossed into mainstream recognition.
Let's get some of those eyeballs onto our product, and hopefully that can help convert some sales. Sophie Cunningham, salute to you. So many people would love to buy some Sophie Cunningham Adidas merchandise. Please make it happen. Don't want a PE. I want her own shoe. I gotta be honest. The term electric pink for Sophie Cunningham, electric pink? Applause. Kudos. Marketing. Dollars. I don't hate that.
Inside the Fever organization, however, things weren't quite so celebratory. Sources say executives felt blindsided. They knew Sophie had become a fan favorite, but they didn't expect her to control the narrative so publicly. For a franchise trying to rebuild its image around Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise, this created an uncomfortable spotlight. Sophie's commercial wasn't just about her. It was about power, about leverage, about proving she's not just another supporting character in someone else's story. And that shift terrified the front office because they know what comes next. Contract negotiations. Here's the brutal reality facing the Indiana Fever. They're about to pay Caitlin Clark a max extension. They'll need to lock up Aaliyah Boston at top dollar. The WNBA salary cap is tight, unforgiving, and doesn't care about market value or social media buzz. So where does that leave Sophie? Financial experts around the league argue her brand value alone justifies a strong offer. She brings attention, sponsors, and audience engagement that the Fever struggled to generate for
as the kind of 2-3. Like most of our biggest games and our best games before the playoffs were with Sophie on the floor. But what people don't understand is that she has an ability to play 1 through 4. Like, look, she's not a great point guard. She can't really dribble the ball, but she can set up that offense. Like, you can set up an offense through her. She will get the ball moving side to side. Like, she has more of a point guard brain than any player in the Fever not named Caitlin Clark. She passes.
Years. But traditionalists within the organization hesitate. They question whether her on-court production matches her off-court fame, and that internal tug-of-war could define the Fever's next chapter. Meanwhile, fans aren't staying quiet. Hashtags like #PaySophie and #KeepCunningham are trending across platforms. Supporters are demanding the team show respect for her impact. But the Fever's silence is deafening. Every day they wait to address it, the tension grows. The risk of losing her multiplies. And Sophie's camp? Sources say she's fully aware of the leverage she holds, and she's ready to use it. The Adidas spotlight gave her more than fame. It gave her negotiating power. And if Indiana hesitates much longer, Sophie might remind them just how replaceable loyalty can be in a business built on branding. But there's another layer to this story that makes it even more complicated. The locker room. Inside the Fever, the atmosphere has shifted. Sophie's rise to superstardom has turned what was once unity into quiet competition. Teammates who used to laugh off her playful energy are now watching her endorsement deals and media attention with mixed feelings. Some admire her hustle and see her success as motivation. Others whisper that the spotlight has become too focused on Sophie and not enough on the collective
that we got for Sophie Cunningham this week. It's not a coincidence. I'm sure this commercial was shot weeks ago or months ago, but it's no coincidence that we have Good Morning America on Monday and we close out with an Adidas commercial. That's how this is done. You build and you build and you build. You reach that climax, boom, hit them with the commercial. Salute to Sophie Cunningham. I like the nicknames. Extra spicy, electric pink, absolutely awesome. I'm so happy to see Sophie coining it. I'd like her to get enough money to buy a house so that she can play for the team she wants to play for, not be focused on
team effort. Her Adidas commercial was the tipping point. Fans online cheered her electric pink confidence, but insiders say a few players felt blindsided. They saw the ad as another example of Sophie's growing independence from team branding. No other Fever players appeared in it. In a league built on teamwork, individual success can sometimes look like rebellion. And then there's Caitlin Clark. Her presence adds another layer of complexity to this entire situation. Both players attract huge audiences, but for entirely different reasons. Caitlin represents the all-American underdog. Clean, disciplined, laser-focused on the game. Sophie is the rebel. Fiery, outspoken, a showstopper who thrives on chaos. Together, they draw massive attention. But it's a balancing act that's incredibly hard to maintain. Some insiders worry about competing egos. Others believe their contrasting personalities could be the spark that defines this new era of the Fever. From a branding standpoint, keeping them together makes perfect sense. Caitlin draws the basketball purists. Sophie brings in the entertainment crowd. Adidas, Nike, and even ESPN have noticed how both names dominate fan conversations. It's no coincidence that Sophie's electric pink rollout happened the same week Caitlin's Nike shoe deal headlines resurfaced. Whether planned or accidental, their combined star power is driving more engagement than the entire league managed last season. But from a team perspective, this dynamic is tricky. Both women demand attention in their own ways, and the Fever must navigate that spotlight without letting egos collide. Some believe Sophie's recent moves are her way of ensuring she isn't overshadowed by Caitlin. In a media landscape obsessed with Clark, Sophie has found her own lane and sped right into it. Fans are split. Some love the duo, calling them the fire and ice of the Fever. Others fear one star's success could come at the expense of the other. For now, the chemistry between them appears strong, but whispers of competition linger. If Indiana plays this right, they could create the most marketable pairing in WNBA history. But if they mishandle it, if jealousy, contracts, or egos get in the way, it could unravel everything they've built. What makes Sophie's rise even more significant is what it represents for the WNBA as a whole. For years, players were told to let their game speak for itself, to stay humble and let the league handle the marketing. Sophie flipped that rulebook upside down. She didn't wait for permission. She built her own spotlight. The Adidas commercial was more than a branding moment. It was proof that players now hold the power to control their own narrative. And that shift is making team executives across the league nervous. Sophie stands at the center of attention the WNBA has struggled with for decades, balancing star individuality with league unity. Her success shows that charisma, controversy, and confidence can drive fan engagement just as much as stats and championships. Brands aren't looking for quiet professionalism anymore. They're looking for personalities that trend. Sophie delivered exactly that. And in doing so, she's forcing the Fever and the league itself to evolve. The timing couldn't be more critical. Caitlin Clark's popularity is bringing millions of new eyes to women's basketball. Players like Sophie are proving that visibility doesn't have to come from one archetype. You can be bold, unpredictable, and outspoken and still win. Her Adidas deal and growing list of endorsements prove companies now value authenticity over conformity. But with great visibility comes greater risk. Every statement, every contract discussion, every social media post is amplified tenfold. Sophie's next decision, whether to resign with the Fever or test free agency, will send ripples across the WNBA. If she stays, she becomes a cornerstone of a rising franchise. If she leaves, she sets a precedent for players demanding both respect and control. Love her or hate her, Sophie Cunningham is redefining what power looks like in women's basketball. She's mastered something few WNBA players ever have, turning controversy into currency. Every viral clip, every bold statement, every sideline smirk has become part of the Sophie Cunningham brand. Confident, chaotic, and captivating. One thing is certain, Sophie Cunningham isn't just playing basketball anymore. She's redefining what it means to be a star in women's sports. What began as a simple Adidas commercial turned into a statement about independence, ambition, and control. She's no longer waiting for recognition. She's commanding it. The Indiana Fever now face a defining choice. Embrace Sophie's star power or risk losing it to another franchise ready to bet big on her future. Either way, Sophie has proven she doesn't just play the game. She moves it. And from this moment on, every spotlight in the league will have her name written in electric pink.